Thank you for your patience.
Rich LaPiccolo, Rosecrest Drive. The greater Monroeville community finds itself in a unique situation, one that in my nearly 30 years being a part of that community, I cannot remember seeing. Can't remember this happening or this situation existing before. The municipality of Monroeville and Gateway School District, and therefore Pitcairn, not as a borough but as a part of the Gateway School District, both find themselves without a chief administrative officer or chief executive. I can't remember when we didn't have a permanent sitting municipal manager or a permanent superintendent at Gateway School District. This is not to say that the folks who are filling in on an interim basis, one of the assistant superintendents at Gateway, whose name escapes me, or Mrs. McKinney, who's doing a fine job. And I think with Mrs. McKinney, we have a tip of the iceberg situation. All the citizens of Monroeville, except those who frequent here, can see, as far as her performance is concerned, is what they see on TV. And when I say tip of the iceberg, if what she does on a day-to-day basis, hour to hour to hour, is anything like her performance here publicly, then you have a very good public servant and very good servant of council. Given that, I was wondering, since things are running in both Gateway and Monroeville, I'm not going to ask the question about the superintendent. I could go to the school board meeting for that. I was wondering, when are we going to see a permanent municipal manager so that poor Lynette, who's doing double duty, can go back to single duty?
We, as you're aware, have a search committee. We've been working long and hard. I mean, I think that's a goal of everyone here on council. I don't really want to speak for everybody. However, I believe everyone's goal is to hire a effective, efficient municipal manager, but do it in the quickest way, but not obviously taken back from the time we need to spend on it. I personally have spent a lot of hours as part of the committee looking at resumes and we did phone interviews, and we presented to all of council in-person interviews. We've completed those, and we had discussion, as I said at the beginning, we had executive sessions. Those were all the ones that we all met for to discuss the manager. We was what I thought pretty much close to a decision, and I'm sure we've talked about rumor mills. We came to a stalemate at one point, because I don't know if our chair wishes to take over, if you want to correct me if I'm wrong, Vern. But our chair of the manager search committee desired to have a new manager come in with a full support of council.
Okay.
Being, for them, and, hard enough to come into the position, but full support. And that was his desire.
And I think, I mean, what we've done is we've had we've had interviews. Most of these executive sessions were interview series periods where we interviewed candidates. And at this point where we're at is we've gotten a small number of candidates that we're in discussion, and at some point, either through a special meeting this month or possibly at the next council meeting next month, because there's an advertising period that is involved, we will hopefully be in a position to make an official announcement. Right now we have no official anything, because as you know from having served, we can't make any decisions outside of these chambers.
I understand, of course.
We had a few hiccups.
So,
or
and
roadblocks
that's where we're at right now. We have a small set of candidates, and council members are discussing it amongst themselves.
Well, I'm glad to hear that, because, we had a previous speaker who talked with respect to a different subject about rumors that were flying around, and certainly there have been a plethora of rumors about this situation and deals and this council.
I'll gladly address that. I mean,
Okay.
I actually am your council rep, so I don't really mind. You're asking the question, I would.
Maybe you should complete the question.
Okay, yeah. There have been all sorts of, rumors of a nefarious nature that have flown about the municipality concerning the process, and deals and vote trade and so forth. And I know that's part of politics, having been essentially a predecessor of all of you for some time, as well as over at the school district. So I know how that works, but it seemed, at least at the rumor stage, and when you hear different rumors, and they all have a common string, and you want to discount rumors as much as possible, when they all have a common string that ties them together, and this common string seems to go to a common foundation, you begin to think that there may be more than a grain of truth that backs the rumor. So I was wondering if that could get clarified.
Well, what I would tell you is that the only time that I know of a forum of council where there's been any discussions have been these executive sessions. No decisions were made. Have there been individual discussions with people? Absolutely. Have I talked to people about their thoughts on the candidates? Absolutely. Have other members of council talked amongst each other? I'm sure they have. If there are any, and as you know, individually we are allowed to speak to one another. There has been no quorum where we have said this is who we're going to do anything for, or this is what our decision is. So I don't know what else to tell you beyond that.
Okay.
I'm going to address what I know. Like I said, I think everyone would like to see this process facilitated for the municipality. However, when we came to pretty much close to what we thought was close to a decision of, narrowing the candidates down to a few, we reached a stalemate because, like I said, the chair's desire was to have a unanimous vote for the new manager, for them, to come into a full-fledged working council together for the manager. At that point, certain council members made a proposal with regards to doing it in that way, that dealt with the current interim manager and their removal effective immediately for them to do that. So that was, just so you know, that was declined. We're moving ahead, and hopefully that's over, and hopefully we have an executive session today, and hopefully that's all behind us, and we do what's best for the municipality and get an interim manager and effective immediately.
Was that a removal from the position as interim manager to return her to her position as the executive assistant of the municipality?
I don't know. It was to remove the interim manager from their position of interim manager effective immediately.
Okay, because
it didn't go beyond that.
What I had heard, and again, I don't like rumors. I'm an engineer. I deal in facts. I sometimes play at law, as was mentioned last meeting, because law is filled with facts and theories, much the way engineering is. But I've also been in your position, and I've had to deal with situations where there were rumors, where there were deals or proposed deals. And what I heard, I used the word nefarious before. One of the things I had heard was that Mrs. McKinney was essentially a pawn, if not a sacrificial lamb, that the price for this unity was that not only would she be removed as interim manager, but she would be removed from her position as an employee of the municipality, which I would have found deplorable.
Now, I have to stop you here. This is a rumor, and I mean, are we going to address rumors?
Well, I mean, he asked a question. I'm asking for my part from what I know about it. And I mean, you're out of order right now, Mr. Duncan.
Well, either the deal was about to be struck or it wasn't about to be struck. And if it's an empty rumor, then it should be said as such.
The only part of what was of the position.
The
And that was to me, myself, addressed. So I can state that. I can't state anything else beyond that. It was declined immediately. So, and again, we've had through, reports of officials, we've had certain people address the way things happen. And this is something I have to personally say I like how it happened. Okay. So any person, I mean, you can address it with your council person, however if you wish to do that with them or not. But we're moving on to find a manager, and hopefully we will all come together on a decision and move in that direction.
Good, good. I'm encouraged to hear that, and it would be wonderful to see a 7-0 vote the way I was part of a 9-0 vote, actually an 8-0 vote on a superintendent, there was not unanimity because one of the members of the board was absent. But if the price of unanimity is what I heard, then I would say that that is a price too high to pay, and a 4-3 vote or a 5-2 vote would be perfectly acceptable to this citizen. And that's all I have.
Thank you. Thank you.